Hello and welcome to Dark and Stormy Book Club. We're back finally. It's been a long, almost 2 months. I want to express my thanks to all of our listeners. This has been a very trying time for our family. I appreciate your patience and concern. October 1st is the second Fright Reads Book Conference in Maryland, and we will be attending, and we have decided to interview a few of the authors that we will be featuring and meeting during the conference. Enjoy. I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
welcome.
If you enjoy our show, please consider contributing to the Dark and Stormy Patreon. By becoming a patron, you will help us create better and quality content. There are also benefits to becoming a patron, such as exclusive content and Dark and Stormy merchandise. Become a supporter at patreon.com/darkandstormybc. Check our website for the link. We appreciate any and all contributions. Thank you.
We are looking forward to visiting the second Fright Reads Conference in Maryland on October 1st. As part of that, and as a little bit of a preview, we will be talking with several of the authors that we will meet there. Our first author is Rosalie Spielman. She is a cozy mystery author. We look forward to meeting her and discovering some of her books. We are very pleased to welcome to the program Rosalie Spielman. She is one of the authors who will be appearing at Fright Reads this October. She writes cozy mysteries. She has a series called Aloha Lagoon, and then she has a new series called Hometown Mysteries, and she has a story in an anthology, Chesapeake Crimes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, well, you're a busy lady.
I try.
Tell us the background on your Aloha Lagoon. It looks like this is your 18th book, Death on a Cliff.
Not quite. I've only written 2 for them. It's a multi-author series. So there's 19 at this point and 10 different authors.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I was given the opportunity to try out, for lack of a better term, and I got a contract. So I wrote the first one, and then she asked me to write a second, and then I actually have a contract for 2 more. So I'll have number 16, number 18, and I don't really know which numbers are after that, but yeah.
Well, that's great. What's the premise of the book?
Aloha Lagoon is a resort in Kauai, in Hawaii. Each of the different authors we have our own character, and they have their own jobs and everything. All of us share the same detective, and of course we share the location. Occasionally we'll have other characters visit. Like in my books, I have the surf instructor from another author's contributions to the series. She'll visit in my book with my character, and we usually check with the other author to make sure we've portrayed them correctly. So they're all in the same town, but each author has their own character and their own mysteries and sidekicks and all that good stuff.
Oh, very good. And then what about the new series, which is Welcome Home to Murder, the Hometown Mysteries?
That is just mine. I don't share that one with anyone. That's the one that I was querying to agents and whatever. That's how I got my agent. And then, I was writing these Aloha Lagoons before I got a contract for Welcome Home to Murder. And I got 2 more books after that one in that series so far. Oh. And that is more personal to me because it was was completely my idea. The character Tessa Treslow is an Army veteran, as am I, and she goes home to visit her hometown, which is a small town in Idaho, which is also my background. Never found a dead person, though. So I've never had to investigate a murder when I go home to visit, but
there's always a chance.
Oh, yeah, don't say that. Next time I go home to my parents, I'll be like, "You got any dead bodies around here?"
Yeah, anybody laying around or hasn't shown up for a week or two? That's great. I saw on your list, you're on the Writers Who Kill list.
Yeah.
We have some show favorites like Connie Berry and Annette Dashafee and Molly McRae and Sherry Randall and Grace Topping. They've all been on the program before.
Oh, I didn't realize that. They're all wonderful. I met all of those ladies at the last Malice Domestic last spring.
We were there.
Oh.
And that great crowd of people. It was so great to be able to be out and have people around again.
Right.
It's been so long. We missed 2 good years of Malice, but it was great to be back there, and we had a good time there. And is this your first Fright Read?
Yeah, this is my first one. It was my first Malice Domestic, too. Originally, my first one was supposed to be the one in 2020 that they canceled.
Yes.
So that was supposed to be my first one. And then, of course, this last one was my actual first one. I did attend the virtual one that they had in between.
Oh, yes.
The More Than Malice. It was great, though. I really enjoyed it. And I was on a panel there.
Which one?
It was the murder in the fields or something like that. I was with Joan Long, and
there were so many, and you just had to pick the one you were closest to, really. We're hoping that Fright Reads, since it features a lot of our local authors. Where do you live in Maryland?
I'm actually just a few miles from where Fright Reads will be held. My son used to do soccer in the facility that we'll be in.
Oh, really?
So I'm pretty familiar with it. I know what the parking's like, at least. Been to the facility many times, but this will be my first time as anything other than indoor soccer.
Oh, great. Do you write short stories also?
I do. And this short story, I named the species transfigurators. They're creatures that can turn into any kind of organic being. The main character tells a story about her uncle that turned into a snail to leave a mark on the window because the ant hated it. And lo and behold, the uncle disappeared and the ant was a bird that day. So, there's kind of things like that. She uses her skills as a private investigator. So she solves a mystery, of course. And the anthology benefits the Chesapeake chapter Sisters in Crime.
Oh, wonderful. And
they've been doing it for a few years. Usually it's all members of Sisters in Crime. And it benefits them, but it's not technically Sisters in Crime anthology.
The Sisters in Crime, they put out another anthology every year, don't they?
The national one probably does. This is just the Chesapeake chapter. I think most of the different chapters do anthologies. Chesapeake chapter does it every other year. And I actually had one accepted for the next one, which will be 2024.
Oh,
and it's kind of interesting. This story was my first instance of being published, even though it's going to actually be my 4th publication at this point. It was the first one that I was accepted to. Used that on my writing resume. And I think it helped me get my agent, which led to everything else. It's a special story to me that it kind of got the ball rolling.
Well, that's wonderful. Anything you can do to get published. Now, will all of your short stories in the anthology, will they be based in the Chesapeake Bay or around the Chesapeake Bay?
I never really had a location set for it. I never specified where the location was. So it's kind of an interesting story behind that. Is my family recently got a cat, and I haven't had a cat since we were kids. And so the cat would sit and watch me in the shower, and it kind of creeped me out. And I remember looking at him and thinking, are you like a man for real? Just in the body of a cat. Why are you watching me? You're creeping me out. And so that's where that came from, because in the story, her ex-boyfriend comes as a cat and they think, oh, look, cute kitty, let's go ahead and bring him in, but not realizing that it was the ex-boyfriend. And she figures it out when he does stuff like that. So now I can't look at my cat without thinking, are you really a cat? Or are you something else?
We really look forward to meeting you at Fright Reads and at Mouse Domestic next year.
Yeah, that'll be great.
So it was wonderful talking to you. Good luck with your writing.
Thank you very much for having me.
And you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Our second author that we're going to meet this evening is Jenny Allen. She is a horror, forensic thriller, and supernatural author. She is also a poet, a short story author, and she has some fascinating artwork. We are pleased to welcome Jenny Allen to the program. She is another Fright Reads author. She writes horror, forensic thrillers, and supernatural. And from my reading, it sounds like they're all in one. Can you tell us about your NYPD forensic consultant, Lilith Adams? Is that her name?
Yep, absolutely. My books, I have two of them currently. It's Blood Lily, which is book 1, and Rose of Jericho, which is book 2. So they follow Lilith Adams. She works for a private company, but she has a contract consulting with the NYPD on extreme cases, weird cases. I'm a nurse by trade, so I use a lot of real science. I wanted to kind of take a different take on the supernatural. So my main characters are vampires, but not like you've ever seen before. They're very normal. I wanted to kind of make the reader forget that they're not human, which makes those moments when they reveal themselves more potent. So her primary function as an investigator is to kind of pick up on any possible vampire related crimes and kind of intercept that before it goes to other places.
Those sound interesting.
Yes, they do. I'm curious, what niche would you put them in? Would they be more of a mystery, or are you going more in the supernatural angle?
It's more in the thriller mystery category. Supernatural elements do come into play, especially with some of the other species that come in. Primarily, the focus is on Lilith, the main character, and how the events that play out affect her, especially mentally. So mental health was a really big focus of the books for me. I wanted to show her journey and how she starts off as someone who's pretty bored with her life. And then she gets thrown into these crazy situations, and it changes her point of view on everything, like the relationships that she has, her sense in the world, and some of the trauma that is introduced and how that manifests itself with her nightmares.
That does sound very interesting. I guess your medical background helps with some of the background stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I use real diseases and things like that to base some of my theories on. It also helps when she investigates a body and like the autopsy type scenes. I did study forensics in college as well. One of the biggest compliments I got was from a professor of criminology down in Texas who read the book. She complimented me on how accurate it was. A huge thing to me. So
Very good. And I see also you're a poet and you write short stories.
I did start with poetry and short stories when I was in high school. I don't do too much of it anymore, but it's focused more into my actual writing for the novels. I'm working on book 3 right now. But I started with poetry and short stories primarily as a coping mechanism. When one of my very best friends in high school, my sophomore year, committed suicide, and it really affected me pretty heavily. I wound up having night terrors for years. And the writing helps me funnel that and deal with it. And now I don't have those night terrors anymore, just normal nightmares.
Nightmares are what make good writers, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I watched an interview with Stephen King, and he talks a lot about being scared.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing to me looking back videos for my Facebook page talking about writing and the books in particular. It was strange to me how I would start talking about something that happened in the book and realize that it's a metaphor for something that happened in my life. But I didn't consciously write it that way. It just happened. It always amazes me, though.
Yeah, yeah. Where are you from? Are you from Maryland?
No, my dad was in the Air Force, so I was born in England. I still have dual citizenship, so it's my escape plan, I guess. But I bounced all over the United States and Germany, and I wound up here about 9 years ago in York, Pennsylvania. So not too far from Maryland.
Very nice, very nice. Now, did you go to Fright Reads last year, or is this your first year?
It's my first year. Last year, I mostly did book signings, and then I did my first convention in October, which was Monster Mania, which I learned a lot of valuable lessons. It didn't go awesome for me, unfortunately, but I did learn a lot. So then this year I did a creature feature weekend, which was phenomenal, and I did really well. I just did the books event in Lancaster, and that went phenomenal as well. So I'm really excited for Fright Reads.
It's a great event, and it's in its infancy, so it's got lots of room to grow.
And they're open for suggestions if you think of any.
Oh, I know. I probably should have booked like a second table because I have the books and I do love to write, but I also have high functioning anxiety and never stop doing things. I'm also an artist. I have art prints and
Do you do your book covers?
I planned to originally, but a friend of mine in England really begged and asked and pleaded to do the first book cover. And when he came back with my original cover, I fell in love with it. And I said, that's it. You're my cover guy. You're doing all my covers.
Yeah, it really is something. I took a look at it.
I was looking at some of your artwork, and it is fantastic.
Oh, thank
There
you.
are some gorgeous pictures there.
Are you
Thank
going to
you,
have
thank you.
some for sale at Fright Reads?
Yep, I am bringing my art prints with me. I also have a few like high quality reproduction prints of a few of my black and white pieces too that I'll have with me.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, you are just a multi-talented individual. You make me feel lazy.
Like I said, that's the product of high functioning anxiety.
Well, Jenny, it was such a pleasure to get to talk to you, and we will definitely stop by your table at Fright Reads and
Awesome.
spend some time with you there.
Sounds wonderful. It was wonderful to talk with you guys, and I look forward to meeting you too.
All right. Thank you. And you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye. That brings us to the end. Fascinating authors that we are looking forward to meeting on October 1st. If you're in the Annapolis, Maryland area on October 1st, be sure to join us at the Fright Reads conference. You will not be sorry. It was a blast last year, and we look forward to another fun-filled event this year. And remember,
Life would be boring without a little mystery. Bye.